What's going on, guys? My name is Marcus, and in this video, I'm actually doing a little bit of a different format if you haven't noticed, but I want to start addressing your guys' comments and your guys' feedback, help solve problems that you guys are currently going through. That's why I just created Discover Ignite, was to help you guys, discover possibilities and ignite change. And I figured this is the best way of doing it, is doing it in this video format. If you guys have any other additional comments or problems you want me to solve, you can always email me at discoverigniterequest@gmail.com. Also, I'm doing one-on-one coaching now, so if that's something you guys sound like you're interested in, you can hit me up at discoverigniterequest@gmail.com as well, and we can set something up and then help you solve your problems. But nonetheless, today's video is to address a comment. I know one of my more popular videos is I'm not smart enough. And the premise of that video is essentially me trying to become a programmer, right? Doing a little bit of programming, HTML work and stuff back when I was in high school still, and wanting to get into programming as an adult. I didn't make the grade going into the military, so I had to essentially push that off for a 10-year span, right? But nonetheless, getting towards the end of my telecommunications journey in the military, I wanted to do something that wasn't back-breaking, right? So I ended up actually going back to college, getting my degree, and then making that transition after 12 years, which wasn't the easiest thing, right? And I made that transition over, and then now I've been doing programming for a couple of years now. So this comment per se is for this individual here. I'm not actually going to read this whole thing. I said I would actually address a lot of the concerns he has about school and everything like that. I'm trying to help him solve his problems. So again, I'm not going to read through this whole thing. I'm just going to kind of highlight some of the things he wants advice on ultimately, and help him with that in those particular areas. So the first thing, if you skim through a lot, he talks about his current situation in school right now. But his advice, he would like advice on time management being one of them. Now, I did point him to the underdog experiment that week 1. We did talk about time management there. Time management is about efficiency, right? It's about knowing that everybody's got the same amount of time during the day, right? It's trying to be most efficient with your time. And a lot of times it's trying to leverage the time that you have, because a lot of times, like he states in here, he understands that there's a lot of pressure to perform, especially in your university or college. There is a lot of pressure to perform, right? And I myself, right, I have my whole thing about the current education system. My thoughts have really changed about that and the way things are. I've gotten a lot of perspective on this side, but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole in this particular video. I want to address time management. So time management is about efficiency. There's a lot of different things when it comes to time management. You are trying to leverage your time. So you have to realize that one of the most important things to realize too here is, even though you're in a time crunch, you want to schedule in time to relax your mind, right? If your brain doesn't have any recovery time, you're not going to be able to absorb what you are doing. And again, that is going to make you more efficient, right? And becoming more efficient, it's more than just time management. There's a lot of things that come into play here, and it can get quite hairy, right, to say the least, right? There's things like to leverage your time. Again, you can audit your week, see where all your time is going, and know, okay, what tasks, what actual classes do I have, where do I need to be, what is due and stuff like that. You need to go through a schedule and kind of plan out your week, what needs to be due when. There's obviously a lot of studying going on there. So the biggest thing to do is to break down your schedule, right? Write down or audit your week. Now you can go through your week and audit it, or if you know what your typical, you want just what your typical week is, right? And then audit that week. Write it down. Write down if you have any extracurricular activities, right? Because I think that's also important. You have to realize that being physical every day is important. It should be a priority. You have to realize that you are studying. You are trying to train the brain, right? You have to understand this. The brain and the body connection is one in the same. And I always talk about this in all my videos because it's extremely important, right? If you're not getting physical activity, it'll be harder for you to focus. If you're not eating correctly, if you're eating junk, like I know most college and university kids are, right? You're eating a bunch of junk at this time. You want to try to eat as healthy as you can. I know budget restraints and all that stuff, but you want to try to eat as best as you can and try to incorporate more greens, right? You want to stay as close to nature as possible. Just keep that in mind, just to try to aim towards that, right? It's not saying you're going to hit it all the time, but do your best to do that. This will help leverage your focus, right? You have to understand that it's all deep rooted. It's all connected together. To leverage your time, you're going to have to focus on your health, right? Because that's the number one that's going to help you focus. You're going to need to try to get as much sleep as you can. I know for you trying to cram and all that stuff, it may be extremely hard, but you definitely want to try to get that 6 to 8 hours of sleep, right? That's extremely important because it's going to help you focus a lot better. It's going to help you retain a lot more information, right? And drinking tons of water every day is extremely important. If your body is healthy and you're taking care and maintaining your body, it will help your mind, right? They're one and the same. And don't ever disconnect them, because you realize that when you do that, if you're feeding your body junk and everything, you wake up, you may not have clarity, you may not have all these things. You need to realize that you're not going to be efficient, right? And that's going to cut in your time management because you feel like you have to spend more time. But if you can leverage your time by improving your health and everything, you realize that you will do much better in school when you look at what doesn't seem to be the fix, but is the root of the problem, right? Is your health and the way that is. So make sure you're, again, scheduling in some kind of activity. If you only got 30 minutes a day, go on a walk. Maybe you can study while you're walking, or walk on a treadmill or desk with a treadmill. Try to figure it out. You gotta use your brain and be creative a little bit here. But if you can do 2 birds, 1 stone, that's fantastic, right? That's what you want to try to do. That's what you want to try to aim for. So again, you want to take care of yourself, audit your week, figure out where your time's going. And a big thing here is to cut out social media. Now, I'm assuming you are young, so this and being in college and whatnot. So the thing is you have to cut out social media. You have to cut out TV, all these other things, right? Like right now, if you really want to knock this out of the park, you will cut this stuff out, right? Or limit it to a window. And say you have like a Saturday off, limit it to just that Saturday, right? And just do it on Saturday, because you realize that cutting out all the other input, all these other distractions, they're going to distract you from focusing. Turn off all your notifications on your phone for all social media, right? And then be able to allow yourself to focus better. And that's one of the best ways to do that. And some things to help you with time management. Again, those are the 2 biggest things: is making sure your body and auditing your time. Make sure you know where it is. Your daily goals, I talk about this all the time. What are your daily objectives you need to knock out? And then make sure they get done, right? Don't procrastinate. If you are trying to be efficient, you want to eliminate thought. I have to get this done. Let me go do it, knock it out, right? And another way to leverage time management here is or not just time management, but is to understand that when you sit down, right, you block out that time that I'm going to study at this particular time from 10 to 11, whatever the case is, right? You want to try to do it when you're most refreshed. Never try to do studying when you're burnt out, right? Say you've had a long day of school, you come home and you're like, man, I got to start cramming. Cramming is one of the worst things you can do. When you come home, if you're exhausted, take a nap, right? Get refreshed. You want to refresh your brain again. So if that involves taking a 2-hour nap, turn on your alarm, 2-hour nap. Refresh yourself, get back up, have some water, maybe go out for a little walk at that point, get your juices flowing, then go down to study, right? And then when you start doing the studying, one of some great benefits here that can really help is that you want to pick up something like the Pomodoro Technique. Now, this technique is good because you need to understand that to be able to memorize things is you have to block it. You have to chunk it, right? There has to be, your brain picks up stuff in chunks, right? If you're sitting down cramming for long hours on end, it's not going to help you. You're trying to be efficient with your time and leverage your time. So what you need to do is chunk it. The Pomodoro is 25 minutes, right? So you have a beginning and an end, 25 minutes, and then you take a 5-minute break. Get up, walk around. You don't want to just be sitting there. You want to keep as active as possible, right? And so that will really help you absorb a lot of this time that you're having, that you're trying to absorb the information you're trying to take in, right? And another good tool here to help you as far as like studying and focus is to listen to classical music, right? A lot of people don't like classical music. I was never a classical music fan, and there is a lot of great research on this. If you listen to classical music when you are actually, trying to study, it does help you focus more, right? You've eliminated all social media. You have the classical music playing softly, right? You don't want to use music that has lyrics, right? Music with lyrics is not going to help you because you'll start concentrating on what the lyrics are of that song. So again, this is why classical is better, and the rhythm of classical music helps your brain, right? It helps your brain waves. And so I've been doing that. And another big thing here is whenever you're trying to learn different things, you want to try to involve as many senses as possible, because it helps you retain that stuff better, right? And so if you can use your sense of smell, right? A good thing is like using peppermint. Just before you start studying, is to smell some peppermint, and it allows you to focus better, right? Now, this is something in human nature. We have defined our sense of smell even better, right? Because we want to be able to taste, right? If like there was meat that was rotten, we want to be able to do that to help protect our bodies, right? So the sense of smell helps out here because it helps you focus, right? You got to realize that there's certain things that help you focus. You're doing all these things. I know this is a lot of information, but they help, right? You start incorporating these things and you realize that it's simple, but it helps, and it has to be simple. And you have to realize how the human brain works. And again, the whole engineering of it, right? So you're doing, again, sense of smell, and you're doing the music, and that will help you concentrate on whatever that you're learning. Again, Pomodoro Technique, again, to help define that time, chunk out whatever part of your day objective, knock that out, and schedule it and make sure it gets done, right? And then again, whenever you feel tired, take a nap, refresh, don't push through. I know a lot of people say push through. That is not the way to go. You're not going to be able to retain it. Cramming is not going to help. You have to not cram, right? You realize that if you're picking up these things and you're doing these things on a regular basis, that you don't have to cram, right? Just study a little bit, if it's an hour or two a day, right? Whatever it is. If it's a harder subject, then you may need to dedicate a little bit more time, right? But make sure that you're trying to be as optimal as possible. You're trying to get in that flow to where you are able to absorb information, right? If you're not in that flow, if you got other stuff going on in your head, go out and go for a run or a walk or something, right? Get the junk, whatever other distractions you got going on in your head, out of your head. This is why physical activity is great for that. It gets all the junk out of your head, so you're ready to start absorbing again. So again, pick up all that stuff. I know the time management thing, it kind of expanded into everything in there because you're asking things to do, things to study methods, anything that could help. Would really appreciate it. So yeah, a lot of that stuff, again, it's creating an environment, right? This is what you're ultimately trying to do, is create the environment that will make you succeed. And all those things that I mentioned, they will help you succeed. And if you maintain these things, you realize that learning is much easier, right? We make it so much more difficult. And I know you're young, you maybe want to have fun, right? You have to realize that you schedule fun for a particular time, right? Maybe, again, you have all Saturday and Sunday. You would like to do some studying, block out times, block out chunks to where on Saturday and Sunday you were doing something completely unrelated to school, right? Getting out and enjoying yourself in life. You do need to enjoy yourself in life too, right? You need to schedule that in though. You need to make sure you schedule it in and make sure you abide by your schedule is what really matters. So when you have that audit and you're breaking everything down, schedule that time in. During the week, you may not have time. You need to understand that. You need to, again, incorporate getting on a health plan, making sure you're working out and stuff like that. That is important. And then from that point, again, trying to incorporate more greens into your diet, drinking a lot of water. Again, all these things, like I mentioned before, they all do help, right? Let's see what else you got going on here. Everybody's willing due to the efforts. Great teachers. As far as the teacher thing and stuff, yeah, you're going to have great ones. You're not going to have. That's just all. That's really up to you, right? It's what effort you put forward, right? You want to make sure that you want to pass your class, is what it seems like. So, you need to put forth whatever effort. If the teacher, you shouldn't rely on a teacher, first of all. You should never rely on somebody else. It is your duty, it is your obligation. If that's something you want, it's a priority of yours, you need to make it a priority of yours. You shouldn't allow other outside elements to essentially seep in and take your priority, right? You have a purpose, right? Your purpose is you went to school to do these things, and you're trying to get your degree, right? You want to get your degree in engineering. So again, these things will really help you and make you more efficient to help you concentrate better. Let's see, what else have we got here? Let's make sure the resources ask for the right people. Again, I mean, Google is a tremendous thing. If you feel like at all you are not getting the information you need, seek elsewhere, right? Pick up a different book, or ask the teacher if there's other resources you can use, right? That's what the teacher's supposed to be there for, so take advantage while you can. I've been working to get a chance to study for years, and I want to make sure that I do it successful. Totally understandable. Again, those techniques that I went over with you, they will help. Just make sure it becomes your regular routine, right? It's going to take a little bit of an adjustment. You may have to, when you're doing these things and writing them down, what I found when I first started doing a lot of my routines and making sure that it was good for me was I set my alarm on my phone, right? Like if it's something new I'm trying to incorporate, a new routine or something, I would set my alarm so I would know, hey, bam, especially like when I was taking a lot of supplements, which I don't agree with, but I was taking a lot of supplements before when I was in bodybuilding, so I would have to set alarms to make sure, because it was like every 2 hours I had to eat, and so I wasn't used to the routine. So I set the alarm until I got used to it, and then I turned the alarm off. So that's something else that could help, right? If you got something blocked, make sure every Sunday you sit down, right? Google Calendar, whatever you need, and then write down during the week what it is, set alarms on those, or go through your phone, set it up every Sunday so you know what you're doing every day, right? And then stick by that schedule, so that way you stay on par. Good grades, not good. Practically is not enough. I need to get a GPA. Apply for a job. Amazing company. Yeah, again, these things will help tremendously. And something else to mention here as far as learning, right? So I gave you some other things that are kind of like more deep rooted that you need to be working on at the same time in parallel with all this stuff, and it'll really help you. Again, you will leverage tremendously. You will learn everything so much better, especially if you're taking care of your health, you're getting your sleep, you have everything prioritized. These things will help you so much easier. And then you feel like you're not cramming, right? Because you don't want to be cramming, because cramming does not work. It's proven it does not work. So if you're doing everything, scheduling everything out, you should be good. You should be perfectly fine. There's no reason to worry, right? And I know that stress level, it's brought upon yourself. If your environment is set up in a way that will help you for success, you realize that you'll be perfectly fine. There's no reason to stress, right? Do those things that I said. And then another thing, when you are studying, another important thing, like if you're going through lectures or anything like that, is you need to be attentive, right, in class. And when studying and all these things, you need to be attentive in the fact that you need to sit up, like, and be aware, right? Like to the point to where like someone's about ready to tell you the secrets of the world, right? You want to be alert. That's how alert you want to be. And you realize that you're able to absorb more doing this way. And another big thing is when you go into any lecture or when you're trying to study something, go into it with the approach that I am going to give a lecture or a summary on what I just learned, right? You want to go into it with the approach that you're going to teach us right after the fact. And a great exercise you can do for this is when you are learning these things, is you have an account here, right? So go on this account, go on to YouTube Live. You don't have to worry, you're not going to make it public. You can make it private, right? Go in there, record yourself, right? After you do a study session, go in there and record yourself, right? And record what you just learned, because that is what is extremely important to retain this information, right? You're doing Pomodoro, so you have the beginning and ends. You're chunking the information into your brain. Your brain loves chunking, right? That's the way it works. And so you're chunking this information in, and then turn around right after that session, go on to YouTube Live, and then just regurgitate everything that you said, but trying to teach this to somebody, right? You don't have to put it public. It's all private, but you have a log of that stuff, right? And then listen to yourself, right? And when you're listening to yourself, watching yourself, you can see if you're really retaining this information. And I mean, it's a tremendous tool, right? It helps you out dramatically in learning and studying this stuff, because if you can teach someone like I myself, right? Like I've I've studied so many different things, right, and gone really in depth with a lot of things, and then like a lot of times I feel like an imposter, right? And then when people ask me about something, I just start regurgitating all the stuff, and you realize that you get into this flow, and all this information just starts pouring out of you. And you're like, where did that person come from, right? And it's because you don't have that feedback loop, and it's important. And feedback is always important, right? Like even if you were starting say a business, right? I have this example before I talked about, but if you're starting a business, right, you want the feedback loop, right? You don't want to wait. If you have a business, you don't want to wait 6 months to get the feedback loop to realize after month 1 that you were losing revenue, right? Like you want to know that sooner than later. And so you want to get that feedback loop every day, right? You want to, at the end of your day, go through and see, right, was I doing what I was supposed to do today? Like, did I execute what I was supposed to do today? Did I do my video, go over my video? Am I retaining the information correctly, right? And then if you find that, when you're talking to yourself on YouTube Live, right, like is it something that is helping you retain it? Is there questions like when you're rewatching the video, right? Because when you put your thoughts out, right, on paper, on video, I'm using video here, but you can also write these down on paper. I know a lot of the younger crowd likes to do video, right? So do it on video, right? Go back through replay your video, and then you pick up on things that you realize, man, I didn't know that I knew that. And then this thing, I may have a question about this. And then the next day you can go on a lecture and be like, oh yeah, I got a question on this, right? You don't ever be fearful. That's one thing, I got little kids that are in school, and it's like, don't ever be fearful, right? If you've got a question, just ask it. No matter how dumb it is, right? Don't ever hold back. If you don't know, you don't know, right? And it's about, one piece of information could really open up, your perspective on things. And then when you get that information, you realize that, man, this is great, right? Like this has really opened my eyes, and that one thing can open up all these other different things. So don't ever be afraid to ask. It doesn't matter how stupid it is, right? People aren't going to judge you. It's that you blow things up in your head like 10 times worse than they actually are, right? And you have to be able to the fact that, everybody's going through the same things, right? Everybody's stressed, all these other different things, but you got your stuff together, right? You're going to go out there and be like, hey, this is the question. This is what I got. Can you give me an answer, right? Because if you can ask somebody, as opposed to going through hours upon hours of looking through books and YouTube and all different things, if you can just ask someone directly, it takes you 2 minutes, right? You have your answer, then it saves you all that time. So that's another thing that can work for time management, right? Is just being effective with the time that you have. And that's, again, what I talk about on Discover Ignite is leveraging the things that you have, right? Because you have to realize we don't have a lot of particular resources coming from where you are in life, right? Depends where you come from in life. There's a lot of times, right, I didn't have a lot, so I had to leverage what I had. And in this time, you're trying to leverage your time and be efficient. And so to save time, ask somebody that knows. Ask them directly. Don't be afraid, right? Because if you wait, you may procrastinate, and then again, it could lead you on a whole other different thing. I think that's pretty much covers everything. I know you had a lot of concerns about everything, but I think that's pretty much it. I hope this video helps you and addresses all those questions. Again, you can hit me back. Again, if you want to do one-on-one coaching, anybody out there, this is not just for the commenter, but anybody out there. I hope this video provides you some guidance. If you guys have, again, any additional questions or anything like that, please let me know. That's why I'm here. That's why Discover Ignite is here, is to help you guys solve your problems, discover the possibilities, and ignite change. Because we have to be able to do it together, right? We want to get in flow. We want to be able to achieve those things that we want, right? I think everybody deserves to get what they want, but that is to also understand that there's going to be work. Nothing is ever free, right? If things were free, we would hold no value to things if they were free, right? So nonetheless, again, I don't want to make this too long. I know this has already dragged on pretty long, but thank you guys. And until the next video, I will see you guys later.